coming to town. The Astros are going to get the silver boot because that's all that matters, right? I don't think so, but the Astros need to get some wins, right? I mean, we got to
That's
finish
right.
with better record than the Yankees. The Astros got to score some runs. The Astros got to do something to get back to their winning ways. And that's what we're going to talk about on this Astros versus Rangers special edition of the Locked On Astros podcast.
Part 2.
Hello and welcome to Locked On Astros, your daily Astros podcast. Here are your hosts, Eric the Man Huysman and Brett H-Town Wheelhouse Chancey.
We are Locked On Houston Astros, and we hope that you join us for a daily Locked On Astros podcast. My name is Eric Huysman. You can find me on Twitter at Eric Talks Stros. Find the show at Locked On Astros, your team every day. Brett, where can you find you at?
They can find me at H-Town Wheelhouse on Twitter and Instagram, and at Stros411 on Twitter, Instagram, and Facebook. Always positive. Let's get a doubleheader going. Always Stros.
We love our fans so much that we decided to go ahead and do a little doubleheader here. And so we had Clay Hensley on earlier, and the audio, we had some issues with the audio. So if you would like to go ahead and listen to that, it is on YouTube only. We're not going to put that in audio, but we wanted to go ahead and do a special show just talking about the Astros versus Rangers, because that's a pressing need right here. The Astros need to get some wins. And I wanted to also thank you once again for making Locked On Astros podcast your first listen. I did a shameless plug at my faculty meeting today. They're doing like they're saying, "What's your summer accomplishments or announcement or stuff?" And I'm like, "Well, my podcast is taking off, and make sure you subscribe to us at Locked On Astros." And
oh yeah, dude, I do that every day, and I think now at my school, because this will be my fourth year. I've lost track, and they're just going to say, okay, what'd y'all do this summer? And my principal's going to point to me and say, Brett, we know what you're going to say. Go ahead and tell us about your podcast, because he actually listens. So, dude, it is a great week this week. I start back on the grind. If you're listening on Tuesday, I start back in the real world where I actually go to my 9-to-5 job to get ready for all the kids to come back this summer. Super excited about that. We've got some cool local news with the Pearland Little League fighting for a spot at Williamsport. We're going to talk about Alex Bregman in this show. We're going to talk about the importance of the pitching, Eric, and just like how important are these games? Is there a lot to worry about? As you can see, we're kind of relaxed tonight. I'm wearing my Astros bowling shirt. You got your Hawaiian shirt. All we're missing is Dusty Baker in the background with a little pina colada, or with the boot,
with the shoe, like yeah,
a wine glass boot, a boot shaped wine glass from his winery. Anyways, here's I
think he should have the silver boot with a whole bunch of beer.
He could do a shoey with the silver boot, right? Okay. So look, here's the deal, guys, and I just want to kind of lay this foundation. I say always positive, always Stros. And I know some people have been not like ultra critical, but then like, come on, guys, like y'all are like seeing things too good. Like you're not recognizing the negative here. And it's not that we're not recognizing it, but I don't think we are as concerned, because we understand. I know you understand this team like we do, that it's a long season. I believe things pan out. And all this team has to do is get hot at the right time, and everything else is a wash. Those 3 games in Oakland won't mean a thing when we win the World Series. Being tied with the Yankees, and we should be 4 or 5 games up, won't matter when we win the World Series. But there are some things we do need to talk about, some things that I think are concerning. And you're going to bring this up, Diaz-Pena comparison, Vasquez-Maldonado comparison, something that a fan did today.
Right. So let's see. Albert kind of asked, what's our record versus the Rangers this season? Great you asked, because against the Rangers this year, the Astros are 8-3. They've scored 42 runs. They've allowed 29 runs, and they have a 727 winning percentage against the Rangers this year. So they have basically dominated the Rangers. They're a reason why the Astros for any team not named the A's, they have really played the AL West really good. That's mostly why they have a 70-30 record on the season. And so a lot of fans are complaining about where the Astros are, how they can't score runs, but you're looking at a team that's 70-40. I said 70-30, but 70-40. They're 70-40 right now, but they are exactly what their Pythagorean record says they are. They have scored 486 runs. They have allowed 360 runs, and that's exactly what the record should be. So the team is what they say they are. I mean, you would hope that they would score some more runs, but unfortunately, this offense is not the same offense that led the team in 2017, maybe even in 2019. Or maybe did 2019, was that more led by pitching? Or was there still slugging?
2019 we had a great lineup. I
Yeah,
mean, we saw Springer, Correa, we had all those guys.
right.
But yeah, it was pitching. That is the one I think that stings the most. I don't think 2021 we really ever had a real shot after game 2. Like when they tied it up, I was like, okay, they tied it up. They go back to Atlanta, we get our mojo back. Nope, that didn't happen. Someone asked us to predict the starting lineup for tomorrow. I don't know. You're probably going to see Yuli in the 2-hole. You're probably going to see Trey Mancini DHing. You might see Christian Vasquez catching. Coming off the off day, they may put Maldonado in there because he's had a day of rest. They like Maldonado. At the end of the day, if Yuli's in there, Eric, he needs to be number 2. I think he hits better with protection around him. The key is when the guys get on base to score them. They've got to have the bottom of their lineup. If Diaz and Dubon are in there, they need to hit. Diaz is, I think, one of the most talented players on this team. He's underrated. He's underappreciated, I think, because of his injuries. I think people look at that and they kind of tend to shy away from wanting to realize that he's a very good player. And so I'm going to have to look at the lineup, and I'll give you my prediction for the lineup tomorrow a little bit later on the show. Let me think about it as we talk through this podcast tonight.
I really think that I don't know if you're going to see Alvarez in left field, if that's what you're talking about with Urquidy, because he's more of a fly ball pitcher. So I
Well,
don't. I don't.
no, you won't. I mean, if he's not in left field, he's DHing.
Well, I
So,
thought you said Mancini was DHing.
oh, you see, like I said, let me look at
Okay.
it. Let me put some thoughts to it so I don't sound like a bumbling idiot.
Okay. All right. Fair. Okay,
Thank you.
so if you're looking at runs allowed on the season, the Astros have allowed 3.49 runs per game. They have scored 4.42 runs per game. Only the Dodgers have scored fewer runs per game. So if you look at Fangraphs, they're predicting the Astros to go 162 for the rest of the season. That means that's what the record is going to be. So they're predicting that the Astros go 30-22 the rest of the season. So I really think that the Astros can do a little bit better than that. I think that they can win a little bit more games. They just got to really up their offense. You need Kyle Tucker to start hitting again like Kyle Tucker. Alvarez needs to wake up a little bit and start bashing again. And you just got a lot of what ifs. And Maldonado, we'll talk about him in a second, but he's doing pretty good. Recently, he's doing a lot better than the guy you traded for, Christian Vasquez. Then Aledmys Diaz is actually hitting a lot better than Jeremy Pena. I guess that would not be surprising to a lot of fellows in this chat, because a lot of people have been really down on Jeremy Pena. But as you bring up, Jeremy Pena does make a lot of error, but he's still got a pretty good defensive WAR going there. So there's a lot to be positive about this team, and they're still going to finish in the top with the top one and top records. They could finish above the Yankees. The Yankees have struggled to do much this year. And so the Astros are just trying to build on their success and just continue to build on hitting and like filling your cabinet with Built Bars. And let's talk a little bit about Built Bar, Brett.
Yeah, as I'm trying to build the Astros lineup in prediction mode here, we're going to talk about Built Bars. Built Bars are the most tasty protein bars in the business. And let me tell you, they have this Built Puff. And if you haven't tried a Built Puff, if you haven't had the great joy of a marshmallow treat wrapped in 100% chocolate that has collagen protein that's actually more efficient for you to absorb, means it's more healthy for you. Look, you can ditch the calories, okay? You can ditch the sugar, ditch the things that make you feel bad after eating it. Not these guys. The cookie dough chunk puff is 160 calories, and they have 15 grams of protein. That's right. Much like a Houston Astros offense in Baltimore, they pack a real punch. 15 grams are like 15 runs in Oriole Park. The Built Bars and the Built Puffs are amazing. If you haven't tried them, I don't know what you're waiting on, but I've tried to convince you. And if my words can't convince you, I need to just make an ad sometime this week and show you my fridge and show you the proof. I'll actually show you my lunch this week with the Built Bars in them. So while you're waiting on that, I need you to go to built.com and use a promo code LOCKED15 to get 15% off your order. That's promo code LOCKED15 at built.com. The best bars in the biz.
All right. I know you and I are talking about going to a game maybe next weekend or this weekend. I forgot when you said, but we need to get tickets. I don't want to pay high fees. Where do we go?
Oh, that's easy. Like, why would you even ask? Because it's a very simple answer. It's called Simple Seats. And Simple Seats are the best place to go when it comes to not to avoiding like extra fees. When you go to another ticket website, they're going to charge you 20% once you get to the checkout. Simple Seats doesn't hide fees. They have tickets to Astros, Texans, Dynamo, Rockets, U of H, UT, A&M. More teams are to come. And right now, if you use a promo code LOCKED10, that's LOCKED10 or locked on 10, you will get $10 off your first purchase of $50 or more. That's locked on 10. And what's great is I've been using them since 2021. And I know for a fact that it's easy. They've got a single page that you go to, you pick the seat. If you see a zone seating memo, click on that. They discount the tickets even further. They pick the seats for you. You check out, you go to the game. You have more money in your wallet. That means you can go to more games. Who doesn't want to go to more Astros games? This club is going to win the World Series. You want to say that you were there. SimpleSeats.com. No fees. The best prices. It's that simple. Check them out today.
I'm excited about this Rangers series. The Astros have definitely played the Rangers a lot better than when they first came to American League. Remember, the Rangers were the Astros' daddy, and they took care of business all the time. But things have changed. The Astros are definitely the favorites in AL West, and for some reason, the Athletics have played them well this year. But looking at the matchups in this series, you're facing the Rangers' best pitcher in Martin Perez. He's 9-2 with a 2.74 ERA versus Jose Urquidy. He is 10-4 with a 3.62 ERA. Perez versus the Astros, and he is 9-5 in his career with a 2.64 ERA, 69 strikeouts, and 16 appearances. And if you're looking at what he's done on the road this season, in 10 starts, he's 5-0 with a 2.26 ERA, 51 strikeouts, and 61 and 2/3 innings pitched. Urquidy versus the Rangers, he's 4-0 in his career with a 2.04 ERA, 41 strikeouts, and 6 appearances. And Urquidy at home and 9 starts is 4-2 with a 2.30 ERA, 54 strikeouts, and 54 and 2/3 innings pitched. So the stats say, the numbers say this is going to be a close game. This could be another 1-0 game just because both pitchers pitch well on the road and at home. They've both pitched well against each other. And so this is going to be a pitcher's duel, I think.
And so I agree. And this is okay. I'm not going to predict the lineup. I'm going to tell you the lineup I would put in there. Okay. I think that's easier for me to do because my predictions don't seem to work. Someone noted that on YouTube. Thanks for reminding me that I'm a total loser. Anyways, I'm going to say Jose Altuve leads off. I'm going to put Aledmys Diaz in left field. I'm going to put him batting second. I'm going to put Jordan Alvarez third. I'm going to put Bregman fourth. I'm going to put Mancini at first base. Yuli has the day off. Then I'm going to put Pena after Mancini, and then Tucker, and then McCormick, and then Vasquez. And that would be my lineup. I'm going to put Vasquez at the bottom because he can hit. Altuve gets up. You want him hitting. I've got McCormick in center field. And so that is my lineup for the game. That is not necessarily my prediction. That, Eric, is what I would do. And that mimics a little bit of one of the lineups they put up against Cleveland when they won 9-3. I moved around a couple guys here or there. I did not put Myers in. I'm assuming Tucker's going to play. And so that's how I would fashion things myself.
Who's playing left field again?
I have Diaz playing left field.
Okay. All right. All right.
Because Mancini's not a good outfielder. He has only played like a couple games out there. Alvarez, just DH him. Now, because you're in Minute Maid Park, you could flip that. You could put Alvarez in left field and
but not with
DH Mancini
on the mound, I don't think. Just because, I know.
Yeah, but it is Minute Maid Park. It's a smaller left field. But here's the thing, and this is what's interesting, and this is what we have to realize, because a friend of mine reminded me of this. Someone who does some scouting, and I talk to different people that do different levels of scouting, whether it's amateur scouting, whether it's for their writing, or whether they actually scout for a team or not. I'll just leave this out there. Teams don't use the same information we use when they're delineating what they do and what they don't do, okay? They have their own formulas. If it was as simple as putting spreadsheets together and doing things like that to figure out what a club should do, they wouldn't have a need for a manager or a general manager. If thousands of Astros fans could find a more efficient way for them to do their job, they wouldn't have those. And so what we have to realize is there's a set of metrics and numbers that they use, and only they know that are out there. And so to compare anything I would do or any lineup I would construct, I'm using myself as an example, this is what I would do. But I'm not looking at the metrics and the numbers that the Astros do. And that's why I'm saying that, because I can say this is who I want wearing, who I think is best, but I don't have the information they have, and I don't use it the same way. So that's something that I'm learning because, hey, I may be a teacher, but I feel like I'm always a student when it comes to anything in life and in the classroom myself.
I think that knowing Dusty, and I know he's still calling the shots from even while he's still recovering, I think you're probably going to see Yuli in the lineup and Mancini probably on the bench, because Mancini started almost every game.
And that's why I said this is what I would do.
Yeah,
honestly, Eric, I'm sorry. I'm giving Mancini a majority of the starts. I know Yuli had like the second most doubles in July and all that stuff, but at the end of the day, you're not losing anything. Yuli's glove has not been as good this year. He has saved a few missed throws. And this is what's weird about baseball. Jeremy Pena has a ton of errors, but he's got the second highest defensive WAR in the league for shortstops.
Right.
It's like, what? So Pena has got to start hitting, Eric. Pena has got to stop chasing the slider, and he's got to start hitting.
Yeah, we'll talk about him in a little bit, but I want to go and look at game two. Game two is going to be Verlander versus Glenn Otto. And Verlander versus Rangers in his career, he's 20-8 with a 2.59 ERA with 10 strikeouts per 9-inning rate. That's a pretty good career versus the Rangers. That's a pretty good season, is what I meant to say. Otto versus the Astros is 0-2 with a 5.30 ERA with 2.3 strikeouts per 9 innings. So Verlander at home, 9 starts this year, is 7-1 with a 1.93 ERA, 59 strikeouts and 56 innings pitched. Otto on with 8 road starts this year is 2-4 with a 4.02 ERA. He has 32 strikeouts and 40-1 third innings pitch. So this one's more of I think this is leaning more towards the Astros. The Astros have handled Otto well. And Verlander, he's going on 7 straight wins, and he's not showing any signs of letting up. So I would say that I think that game 2 would lean more towards the Astros side, when I'd say game 1 is more of a pick 'em. What would you think?
Yeah, I think at the end of the day, I think the only game they really struggle to maybe win is if they don't give Urquidy run support. If Urquidy maybe gives up, like a solo shot, it could be like that Cleveland game where they lost 1-0.
So you're agreeing with me, is what you're saying?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah,
Yeah.
I mean, at the end of the day, I think the only game the Astros are really in danger of losing is the first game. I think all the other games are clearly in their favor. And I'm not making a prediction, to make a note of those who listen to the show closely and are taking record. I know, gosh,
Just do
I
it.
felt so no, I felt so like under the microscope. It was a very vulnerable moment. They were like, wow, stop predicting. Every time you predict something, it goes wrong. And I'm like, man, someone is keeping records. So, and Christmas is right around the corner. I don't want to be on Santa's naughty list. Yeah, Eric. Yeah, Eric. It's probably Eric's burner account. Eric is probably trolling me, and he's like, "Hey, I'm your best friend, but Brett, you're a terrible predictor." Like, whatever. It's all good, man.
Yeah, my real name is Dorothy. My
You're
burner
Dorothy.
account. My burner account is Dorothy. Dorothy McGrew.
You're
I'm just kidding,
now.
Dorothy.
Now that would be talented though. If you could do this podcast and seamlessly type into the chat without me noticing, that would be leveling up, Eric.
Yes, that would be definitely leveling up. So game 3 would be Framber Valdez versus Reagan's. I didn't put his name down, but he's Valdez versus the Rangers is 4-2 with a 2.78 ERA. He has a 9.9 strikeout per 9 rate. 9 innings rate versus the Rangers, and Reagan's has never faced the Astros, and this is only his second start in the big leagues, and he's only made one start. He went 5 innings and didn't allow any runs, had 3 strikeouts. So he pitched one good game, but the Astros can take care of that. So
Yeah, something that Mr. Corona asked us, and I think it's worth noting and kind of talking about here is like he said, should Hunter Brown be a reliever? And I think the only way that Hunter Brown becomes a reliever for the squad is if he comes up soon, right? And nice laughing emojis. And so I digress. I get distracted a little easily, but my question is if you've had him ramped up and maybe he hasn't gone really past 5 innings very much, he could be a piggyback starter type candidate. But I think Hunter Brown would need to at least pitch some regular season games, Eric. I don't think there's any way you make his major league debut in the playoffs. I think that would be almost insane to do. And I know like Hunter Brown, if he were here right now and I were to ask him, if your first major league start was in a playoff situation, would you do it? He would 100% say, yes, I would do it.
yes, and I know that a lot of people are wondering what happens with Lance McCullers when he comes back from his recovery. And I think the answer is probably they're going to go back to a 6-man rotation. They're going to see how much they can stretch him out and probably eventually go to a piggyback starter with him, maybe him and Christian Javier to save some innings or something like that. But Lance McCullers, I know he's probably thinks he's ready. I know the results from the last game probably would say that he's not ready, but don't look at the results. Don't look at how many runs he gives up. Think of this like spring training. And I would bet that he's more ready than we think he is. And speaking of betting, let's talk about Bet Online. It's the fastest and easiest way to check all your betting needs. Find all your favorite sports and events at the #1 online source for odds, lines, and games. Find reviews of and news of every league, including Major League Baseball, NFL, NBA, NHL, combat sports, esports, and even golf. What shirt is Eric Huysman going to wear tomorrow? Who knows? I'm sure there's some type of odds on that. BetOnline continues to be the top online resources for all your sports wagering information, from live in-game betting, scores, and podcasts. They have you covered. Head to BetOnline today and use your mobile app device to learn more about all the action happening today. BetOnline, it's where the game starts. And I'm getting a little hungry. This is our second podcast. You know what, Brett? I kind of want some Hooters wings right now.
Okay, so Hooters wings. Hey, you know what? They say we are too positive sometimes. Well, I'm going to tell you something I'm really positive about is Hooters NASA in Webster. It's an amazing place. They've got the world famous Hooters girls. They've got great service there, and they've got some amazing flavors of wings. They've got 15 sauces. They have 5 dry rubs. They've got ice cold beer. whatever you want. Also, if you're an Astros fan, not only did we do a live broadcast there, but they will be taking another bus trip to the game. What they do is you need to go in, talk to Rosie, tell them you want to sign up for the trip. It includes food before, drinks on the bus at a discounted rate. The baseball game, they feed you on the way back. It's a great thing. You don't have to drive. And so you can, consume a little bit and you don't have to worry about being on the road and you get to hang out with your friends. Bring a friend, bring a family member, whatever. Hooters NASA is the place you need to go. They have happy hour Monday through Friday, 3 to 6, or happy owl as they call it, legendary readers, Rita's, Hooterades, and so much more. So to get there, you go to I-45 South, you exit 528 for great wings and the best service from the world-famous Hooters girls, located conveniently in the NASA Value Shopping Center, just south of Baybrook Mall. Whether it's lunch, after work, dinner, or to celebrate an upcoming special occasion, go to 20796 Gulf Freeway for Hooters of NASA and tell them the Locked On Astros guys sent you.
All right. Apparently, we're too positive. So let's point out some negatives here.
No, hold on. Time out. No. Not yet. Okay. Look. I've got to say this. There are two reasons. There are two words I'm going to give you of why I don't think you need to bring up Hunter Brown. Jacob deGrom. Jacob deGrom did not pitch till he was 26. There is real value in patience with a pitcher's development. If you hold off on Hunter Brown, and I don't think you have to have him till next year, you let this kid step into the big leagues on a full season, being an actual starter, whether he's a 4 or a 5 or a 3, and you reap a lot more benefits out of Hunter Brown than if you put him in a tough situation towards the end of the season for home field advantage or a playoff game, Eric, where you might do more negative damage than positive to help him out. That's why I don't think Hunter Brown should come up this year. I think they need to wait. I think it's too late in the year. If Lance McCullers wasn't in question, who does he replace next year?
I don't think you want to know. You don't want to know.
Oh, it's going to be, someone's going to be the odd man out next year. They're going to clearly fight for positions. We can't go on with 6 pitchers. But Eric, go ahead and bring the negativity, brother.
All right. The only thing I can bring in negative is the Astros are ranked 15th in terms of fielding percentage with a 986 fielding percentage. So that's a negative. So I guess that's a negative we can find out. Batting, if you're looking at their strikeouts, they are still at the bottom. Like, that's a positive. They don't have the lowest strikeouts by hitters. The Guardians actually strike out a lot less than the Astros do. They're 759. So the Nationals 787, and the Astros are third with the fewest strikeouts at 819. So I guess that's a negative. They're not with the fewest strikeouts anymore. So there's a negative. And if you're looking at the number of, let's go batting average, because everybody loves batting average. The Astros are 16th with batting average, 241, meaning they suck. So there.
Well, okay. And, another thing. So you have to put Hunter Brown on the 40-man to keep him from being taken in the Rule 5 draft. So they're going to have to do that. I don't know if they have to do that before or after the season, but if they do that, there's a chance they bring him up. Luis Garcia has been struggling. He has not been throwing his best ball. He's been I think, up or down. To me, if you want to say Luis Garcia has something going on a 10-day IL stint and you bring up Hunter Brown, but if you bring up Hunter Brown on the 40-man, who are you going to remove from the 40-man? And I don't know who those pieces are that are expendable at this point. You can only, we've used a 60-day IL the heck out of it. Now, maybe if Brantley finally decide to shut him down for the year, 60-day IL, that is the piece that they pull away from the 40-man and they put Hunter Brown in his place. So that was an excellent point by IOA2OI. I think that's who said it. That's literally their name. Anyways.
That's Alex, by the way.
Well, come on, man. I'm trying to give the guy some cover here. He doesn't want to be known by his name.
Okay, sorry.
IOA2OI. It's just, it rolls off the tongue better. It rolls off the tongue better. I can't even say it. Yeah.
All right. Another negative is the Astros have about 90 fewer runs scored than the Yankees. There.
Yeah. And Eric knows how to manage a 40-man roster, apparently.
Mhm.
Yeah,
I do.
I do agree with James here that Garcia, I think, unfortunately, is the odd man out. You got rid of you got rid of Over Easy, so he's gone. My question is, does Will Smith make the playoff roster? You know, Will Smith did look good his last outing. He flipped his curveball and fastball usage, which actually had a positive effect, and he did really good. So at the end of the day, um, the Astros only have a couple things to figure out, Eric, and everybody needs to chill. Like, they're not going to win every game, okay? They've pretty much won every series except for a couple of them. I think they've won the most series. I don't know, maybe the Dodgers have, but teams are going to slip up, you know?
Will Smith wants you to keep his Dane roster spot out of your Dane mouth. I can't even say it without cussing. Okay, let me try it again. Will Smith wants you to keep his roster spot out of your Dane mouth.
Okay, all right, thank you. I will. Hey, all I'm saying is, if he doesn't perform the way they want him to, they're under no obligation to put him on the playoff roster, even with his playoff history,
I
right?
think I think he will be on there mostly because Dusty Baker loves them lefties and lefties.
Well, I
You're
know,
gonna need
but
that, especially
well,
against
I'm going
teams that.
extremely negative here. I'm not always positive, always Stros on this take. But if he's giving up a lot of home runs and he's got a ballooned ERA of 7, 8, or 9, you would have to be on something to put him on this team. You're under no obligation to put him on the playoff roster. He takes
Okay,
someone's spot. I'm just you're not obligated to put. He's a pitcher. It's not like you're saying this about Diaz, or you're saying this about McCormick. I mean, this is a guy that I think they got. It's a low risk, high reward kind of thing. And if the guy falters, you're under no obligation because they were going to DFA him. They did the Braves a favor. And Will Smith, I hope he turns it around because I've seen him when he's dominant. And you look over his career, he has the stuff, Eric. Yeah, take notes. Take note, buddy.
uh,
Write it down.
Brett H Town Willhouse said that if Will Smith makes the postseason roster, somebody who put him on there is on something. I got that.
Well, no,
I,
So hold on, time
I
out. No.
I'm kidding.
I know you did a Twitter take. I didn't say that. What I said was, if he performs badly and he's not pitching well, you're under no obligation to put him on the playoff roster.
Yeah, I know.
None whatsoever. That's what I'm saying. There are two scenarios that happen. He performs well, he's on. He performs poorly, he's done. He's
All
sitting
right.
at home, just like they did with Fires, just like they've done with other people in the past that did not make playoff rosters. Odorizzi, he wasn't on the playoff roster. Nobody trusted him. If Will
Right.
Smith garners that trust and respect, he deserves it.
Right. All right. As we kind of close off this podcast, I want to go ahead and ask the people in the chat, how many wins do you think that the Astros get? I know Fangraphs is predicting the Astros get 100. So are you going the over or under for 100? And you can go ahead and say how many wins you think they get. So, Brett, I'm going to go and ask you first as everybody's chatting in there. So how many wins do you think the Astros get? Just remember, they have to go 30 and 22 from this point to get to 100.
No, if that's the case, I think they won 107 games.
Okay.
I'm pretty confident in that.
All right. So we have
Oh, look at that. Jay Garza Rivera agrees with me. 107. James Cook, 98. Imagine James Cook having a negative take. James, I love you, man. You're hilarious. I love it.
Okay.
He's like 98. They're not getting 100.
Rome Loves Dan says 99. So we got 102, 99.
Hey, let's go IO squared OI. What do you think? Let's go. Bring it. Dorothy said 107. Ooh, Matt Martinez said 108. Wow, look at that.
I'm still going to
good
stick
guesses.
with my
Oh,
prediction.
look. Go big or go home. All gas, no brakes. 109. Look at that.
Wow. Brooks is
Brooks is
this is the
86.
epic meltdown of
Oh, Brooks. Brooks is starting a podcast apparently too, according to IO
wow.
Squared.
If the Astros only get to 86 wins, that means they win 16 games the rest of the season. That is a disaster. And then, yes, we will be super negative for the rest of the year if they only do that. So I think
Oh
this
man.
team is much better than that. And I think I'm going to stick to my prediction. I think they're going to win about 103, 104 games. And so I think that's what they do. That's way up from our prediction from the beginning year. Remember, we said like what, 94, 95, something like
Well,
that.
yeah, I thought at one point I had 97, but that's because everybody was telling us there's not a 100-win team in the AL. Now all of a sudden there's all these 100-win teams.
Yeah. And keep in mind, the Astros are still one of those teams. And my worry is the Mets are good, the Padres are good, and the Dodgers are good. So you got these, and then the Braves are probably going to be good too. So you've got all these like great teams in the NL. Then you have like maybe the Yankees and the Twins, and then the Astros in the AL. So this is going to be a dogfight. This is not going to be an easy walk to the playoffs. And the Astros have got to learn how to hit. Bottom line, I don't care how good the pitch. I mean, if Justin Verlander gives up a solo home run in the playoffs and you don't score any runs, it doesn't matter if he pitches 9 innings. Shut up.
I'm taking notes. I'm putting in my phone. Hey Siri. It's all good. Write it down. That's our new thing. Okay, go ahead. I got you. Receipts, man. Receipts.
All right. So I believe that's all we got. I think I'm going to go ahead and I'll make a prediction. I think the Astros will take care of business versus Rangers. If they don't sweep them, I think they're definitely going to win 2 of the 3 games. But I'm leaning towards the sweep. I think the Astros are going to be out for blood, and the Rangers are just not a good team right now. The only game I'm worried about is probably the first game, and it could be a carryover effect from the last game versus the Guardians. So.
All right, hold on. Eric says they beat Martin Perez, who has completely owned them. Okay, I got it right here. I wrote it down.
All right, that's all we got for this edition of the Locked On Astros podcast. My name is Eric Huysman. He is Brett, taking notes, Chancey, and we will be back with another edition of the Locked On Astros podcast. Make sure you subscribe to us on YouTube and tell a friend, and that we are goofy and we have a good time. We also have good baseball takes. So we'll be back with another edition. Go Astros. Oops.